Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nicholas from AppleTechGeeks, and welcome to Throwback Tuesday. This is our first episode of Throwback Tuesday, and so what we're going to be doing today, as a classic for the first time, for our first video, we are going to be playing Tetris for the Nintendo GameBoy, the original classic. So, as I mentioned in my Return of AppleTechGeeks video, which you can view on wherever I put the link, as I mentioned, I got a 1989 Game Boy, the original one, and so I got Tetris with it. So, the way we are going to be playing this is we are going to be using the Game Boy player for GameCube, and I'm going to be recording the TV while playing Tetris. Now, it won't be in black and white, as it would be on the Game Boy itself, but it will still be the exact same game, so we'll play it on there. Yeah. Alright, guys, so here we have the Nintendo GameCube attachment, the Game Boy player, which... Alright, there we go. Now my camera is perfect. So we're going to start playing. Alright, so this is the main screen. Just turn down this volume slightly. Alright, so this is the main screen. So when you first start, you can choose between 1 or 2 players. I'm going to do 1 player. And so there are 2 game types. The first is game type A and the second is game type B. Game type A is marathon for modern Tetris players, and game type B is you got clear a certain amount, and then the game's over. Now, I'm just going to play the music for a few seconds, because this is pretty iconic music. So as all Tetris fans know, that is Tetris music that basically everyone who had this game, or basically had a Game Boy, knew. And it has basically been changed around by whoever owns Tetris plenty of times, and has become more modern. So there are 3 music types, and so that's the first one. The second one is another one that has been brought through all the Tetris series, and the third one is this. So for authentic gameplay, we're going to stay with Type A, and let's get started. So we're going to start with level 0, and so let's go. So the point of Tetris is to try and make as many lines as you possibly can. And when you fill up an entire line, it clears it, dropping down the blocks that were on top of it. The more lines that you clear at once, the higher the bonus you get. I'm gonna try and get a Tetris as best as I can. Not every time. Compared to modern versions of Tetris, it hasn't changed too much. Except for the fact that now, on modern versions of Tetris, you can hold blocks in your, reserve them for future use. You can also see I cleared 2 lines there. As I was saying, you can also it goes a whole lot faster as you get to higher levels. It does on here too, but not to as much of an extent that it does on the other systems. Excuse me. Basically, these games could go on forever. Although it has been proven that it cannot go on forever due to the fact that because if you keep getting like the red shape or the green shape, as they are now, the 2 Z shaped, there I got a Tetris. If you keep getting the 2 Z shaped shapes, I don't know what their Tetris names are, but if you keep getting that, it's impossible to win, and it probably winds up killing you. Tetris requires a whole lot of strategy. After you played the game a few times, you get the hang of it. But for first timers, it's pretty hard. After you clear a level, you go to the high score screen, which then you can easily record your high score. So I'll do A, B, oh darn. There. After you're done recording your score, you can continue with a different level or go back to the main screen and choose a different game type or music. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick my camera. So let's try game type B. Now, as you can see, there are 2 different versions. Well, there are 2 different things now. The levels still go through 0 through 9, but now you have a high thing. So once you set the level, I'll set it with 0, you now get to this high button, this high menu. This is how many blocks high you want it to start with. And most of the time the blocks are not filled solid. So let's go with 1 block high. See, the blocks aren't set. Their blocks aren't fully filled. So now let's try just playing type B regularly. Try and make as many lines as we can. We have to make 25 lines. Actually, I'm going to cut it so that you guys don't have to watch whole 25 lines. So after you finish level B, it gives you that little sound, and then it tells you what your scores were. Then it adds all your drops up, and then gives you your high score. Pretty annoying sound, right? So after you're done, press the start button again, and let you put in your high score. Overall, Tetris for the Game Boy deserves its rightful place in history due to the fact that it was one of the original puzzle games for Game Boy, and it was the original in the series. Tetris for Game Boy also has pretty iconic music as well, because anyone, basically, as I said before, anyone who had a Game Boy or anyone who had Tetris knew the song, and has become a pretty big icon. So that's why I feel like Tetris was a worthy game to choose as our first game for this series. So tune in next week on next Tuesday for another game from maybe a different system or maybe the same one. So tune in next week. So see you guys.